Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to my show, High Road to Humanity. In every episode, I tell you powerful true stories filled with great wisdom that you can use in your own life as you strive for a higher road to travel. My featured guests will have their own unique stories to tell that enlighten your mind and your soul. So kick back, relax, and learn the secret to success when you take the high road.
First touch, strong connection, it lays deep in your soul.
Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to High Road to Humanity. And guess who's here today? Elaine Clayton's here. She has this awesome new book out. It's The Way of the Empath. If you're watching me on YouTube, I'm holding it up. That's my little marker in there. There's so many things in here I've marked in this book. It's crazy. You guys, I want you guys to share this show for people who are empaths and for people who know empaths, because it will help you understand us. So welcome to High Road to Humanity, Elaine.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm completely thrilled. I'm
glad
going to float away. If you see me float away, it's because I'm so thrilled.
It's an awesome book. So this is really going to be great. I want to read just a little bit in the beginning. So you guys sit back and relax a second. And this is important that you understand what this is about. So empathic sensing is the art of seeing the unseen and welcome the mysteries of life through psychic events and fun encounters with yourself and others. Living as an empath means embracing the ideal of heart-centered intelligence by attuning to the experiences and well-being of others. Empaths seek to live a life of generosity through sensing and quiet knowing. Now, this intuitive intelligence, this psychic clarity is the hallmark of knowing from the heart, the pinnacle of empathic knowledge. And that's where it comes from. It comes from the heart. Now, I'm going to go on and read the second paragraph because this is so important. An empath's life is not an ordinary life. I can vouch for that. It requires the strength of a lion because it takes real courage to be empathic. This form of artful living asks that you develop your imagination, your curiosity, and your consciousness in an extraordinary way, that you discover how your perceptions guide and inform you, how they shape you, and at times challenge you. It encourages you to step into your own innate role as a creator and work to bring compassion and an open heart to yourself and to others. That's the beginning of the book. Thanks, Elaine.
Thank you for reading that. It was interesting for me to hear you read. I don't think I've heard anyone else read, aloud what I've written. And it's a new book, so, but I haven't really heard that. So that was kind of a gift you just gave me, your voice and everything. That it came from your heart. I could feel that in your voice.
So I feel this, I'm an empath. Gosh, I've got chills. And I know what it's like, and it hasn't been easy to be on this planet as an empath. And this is needed. This is like a manual, you guys, for all of us empaths that are here right now, raising the vibration. And I thank you for writing it because we need it. I recommended it yesterday to one of my clients because I knew we would be talking today. And I said, you have to watch the show so you understand. Before I get into your story, because I want to hear your story and I want the audience, even though you've been on the show before, I want you to talk about what it's like to be an empath. I did receive a message from Gabriel. I don't want to take away from the book, but I do like to put out what he tells me. It's a short message, but very powerful. So today is April 1st, 2022. And this is what I received today, the message I received for you, the people. Tell the people of the planet Earth to not fear what they are being shown, as not all of what you see is truth. Revealing the actual picture will come down the road. For now, believe in love and know that you will learn from these times. Grow and elevate your souls as compassion and kindness become part of your life, not war, anger, and greed. Love will encompass this entire planet as we change our vibrations to ascend to a higher frequency of love. Gabriel. So
that's beautiful.
That's what he had to say. Now let's talk about.
I love that, Gabriel. I hope Gabriel is here with us.
Always with us.
With us here now.
You know, if you guys want to bring Gabriel in, you just bring him in like this.
Yeah, just okay. We're
Bring him
having,
in, and he's here, and you can do the same thing I do, because I'm not special. Y'all can do the same thing.
you are special, but everyone is special, but you are special in the way that only you can be special,
Thanks, Elaine.
right? A miracle upon us.
Thanks, Elaine. Let me tell the audience a little bit about you. Elaine Clayton is an artist and author and illustrator of several books for children and adults on intuitive intelligence. She's an intuitive reader, a Reiki master, a teacher of intuitive empathic development. She's taught in premier independent schools in Atlanta, Boston, and New York City. And as visiting author and artist in cities around the US, Elaine has also worked in community aid organizations at Cesar Chavez Migrant Camp. It goes on. She's got a really long bio, but I'm really glad you're here. I want you to tell the audience about being an empath, like your own story, Elaine. What happened, and kind of give an idea of what it was like for you.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting because it comes in layers, like, so when you're young, you may feel, this is how I felt in classroom, let's say, like I'm the observer, not so much part of it all and accepting the agenda. I was observing the agenda. Now, one of the reasons why I think is I was noticing the way the light shined around the teacher's head. And I didn't know there was a word for that until much later. And the way I found out is a really interesting story. It even has Hank Aaron in it. But so, yeah, so when you're watching that beautiful light around people and things, the energy of that is so blissful to see that, it's not as compelling as whatever they're talking about. Or that you could be aware that people around you are upset or nervous or something, and everyone would act like that wasn't true. They would act like they didn't know it or didn't see it, And now I understand as an adult, and I've taught myself that you're there and you're in your role, but so anyway, starting out, I think I felt like a little detached from everything. And I always had really intense dreams. And and I had to carry that every day. And it sometimes felt like my third eye was still just right here, like something was right here.
Can I ask you a question? Did you dream about past lives, or did you dream about the future?
You name it. I dreamed about what was really going on, like in relationships, like the dynamic and adults relationships and things. It would be symbolic, but you would get the point. Overwhelming dreams that were just completely full color and cinematic. So sometimes I dreamed about, really, it was like a portal to understanding or seeing the hard truth about things around me in that era of life. But I also think I was astral traveling a lot too. Okay. And stuff like that. So my dad helped me, and I dedicated this book to my dad because
I saw that. It's my dad. That was really nice.
Well, both parents were responsible for being so tuned in, heart-centered and compassionate. So really, it's both. But my dad in particular had helped me with dreams, and he helped me understand that though they can be so overwhelming, what happened is I came out, this was in the 60s. So I came out to where my parents were entertaining people. And my dad was mixing drinks. They were like the cream de mint or something, we don't do those drinks much anymore, but it was a thing.
Whiskey sours.
Yeah, it was a mod party, and so he said, "What are you doing up?" And I said, "Well, I had a bad dream." And I was terrified this dream was so bad. And he said, "Well, what was it about?" And I said, "I can't tell you."
Oh.
And he said, "Why can't you tell me?" And I said, "Because I'll get in trouble." And he said, "No, you can't get in trouble for your dreams." And that was huge. And then I remember the fear mounting as I blurted out this dream. And it had to do with the dynamic between my mom and dad and religion. It was all in there. Well, it'll take a while to tell that part, but you think kids don't get themes, they get all of it. They just don't have the way to verbalize it.
Right.
But he gave me this beautiful gift in saying, you can't get in trouble for your dreams. It's okay to share them. And he even laughed a little because he knew, he saw the truth in my dream. And so it deflated it. So while a dream feels overwhelming, there's also something about them that you don't have to take completely seriously. You can, it's a mix, it's okay. And then throughout life, I felt like he was real tuned in spiritually and things like that, and very intuitive as a physician, very intuitive.
Oh, he was a physician. Yeah. See, isn't that wonderful? Because he probably
Yeah.
was with his patients. Yeah.
Yeah, just the most intuitive person to this day. He's 90, he'll be 93 in July, and I still ask him questions. He's never wrong about these things. He's so intuitive.
Wow.
So I get medical advice still. But anyway, as I got older, you know, I just don't know. I mean, it wasn't like I was always this great, kind, empathic person. I was a teenager. I made mistakes. I would get hurt and, you know, be hurtful back and all that. So it's not about who's more perfect or something, but caring.
Yeah, but I have a question. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Sure.
When did you realize that you were reading other people's energy, and when did you start seeing? Because that happened to me and it freaked me out, because you start to see.
Yes.
That
Well, I was always seeing the auras and understanding things that I didn't talk about because I thought everybody saw that. I didn't know. And but the moment when I realized something else is happening with me energetically, is, and this wasn't necessarily about being psychic, that you already knew that. But the thing is, it was that I came home one day, I had a great day, it was a beautiful day, and I was suddenly aware that I felt terrible, you know, like nervous, anxious. And I thought, I dealt with it for a few moments. Then I said to myself out loud for the first time, wait a minute, I had a good day. This isn't mine. And then I had to do, so consciousness, you know, being consciously aware that I absorbed some feelings that weren't even mine. Then I had to meditate a little, sit down and think, where did I get this? Whose is it? How come I feel this way? Because I had a good day.
Mhm.
And I processed that. And then after that, I had to do that all the time, because at least, thank God, at least I realized that a lot of the things that I was feeling weren't even mine. And then it was a lifelong process up to this day, how to recognize that, how to not be responsible for other people.
Right.
As much as you want to see people be well, no one can fix me. I'll have to fix me.
Yeah.
Right. But I get help from people in the same way we help people as much as we can. But it's like a process. And the other thing that you said, how hard it is to be an empath. It is, because guess what? One of the things I think happens to empaths is not only do you get attracted to people who maybe have wounds that you want to make better unconsciously, you also, what happens is you end up in dire situations sometimes, or very painful situations that, you know, teach you what it feels like to be in that situation.
Right.
Because if you're an empath, what kind of good are you if someone says,
Right.
yeah, and that's when I look back at, even when I was teaching before I had kids and things, how many dumb things, insensitive things did I say? Because I didn't know yet. I would much rather know. So I am grateful a little bit for some of the hardest things I've been through, because then you know more. You can be a lot more of a presence for someone.
Right. We've got to go to commercial break. Let's talk more about this when we come back. You're exactly right. I feel like the same thing, Elaine. I had to go through different things so I would know what it felt like so I could help other people at this point in our lives. That's what we're doing. You guys, the book is The Way of the Empath. This is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity, and we'll be right back. Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and this is High Road to Humanity, and I'm here today with Elaine Clayton. This is her new book. It's The Way of the Empath, and at the top it says, free yourself, empower yourself, protect yourself. And these are some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about how to protect ourselves. Elaine's going to show how she uses her intuitive abilities to draw. We've had her on the show before. You can see the beautiful painting behind her. So we have a lot of material to cover. So this is going to be a great show, you guys. Something in here that I marked and put down is when you go to the chapter of dreams, signs, and synchronicity, you say empaths are dreamers and daydreamers. That is so true. And then you turn the page. I have to read this, you guys. And these are some of the signs that empaths say they notice regularly. And every one of these is true. Cardinals. And you say, it's my grandmother saying hello. Coins. I found one in the shower as it came out of nowhere. This happens to me all the time, by the way. Feathers.
Yeah.
I heard an owl outside my window. In my mind, I asked it for one of its feathers. The next day, while walking the dog in the backyard, I found a huge owl feather behind a tree. And repeating numbers, 333, 1111, 22. Mine's like 444 right now.
Isn't that wild how it happens?
444. Yeah. And I didn't realize until I read your book. I mean, I knew people did this, but it's empathic to do this, isn't it? Talk about
I
this.
think it is, and I think it's empathic to notice it, to be in a playful, you know, when I said we're dreamers and daydreamers, so much about being intuitive is very playful, like a child in their imagination. You know, like think about when children turn the living room into Cinderella's dungeon, and it really, 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 really is. They're not mad because it's not. It is. And then they turn it into the palace, and then it is. They understand that the visual imagery that happens and the energy that happens in the imagination is so essential. And so when you're empathic, that is in there. And so when you notice synchronicity, I mean, nothing is more exciting to me than a synchronistic thing that happens. And that is so thrilling. And then if you're in the shower and a dime falls as if from nowhere, how did a dime get in the shower? You already took all of your clothes. I mean, there's just no way. So,
Yeah.
But if you're very practical and businessy in your head all the time and tasky and all that, you might just end up saying nothing to yourself about it. You might notice it, oh, who dropped that there? And then, you know, pick it up and put it away, but not have that intuitive, spiritually alive moment where you go, that's mysterious. What happened? You know, and if you see cardinals and other birds, you know, when do you see them and what do they mean? The Native Americans taught us how to do that, or that, you know, something that's so beautiful in honoring the earth is to realize the animals give us gifts by who they are and what their strengths are and all that. So being tuned into nature is really part of being empathic as well. Yeah, so I just think it's so exciting when these things happen. That part of it, though, is it's a co-creation. You have to acknowledge that it's happening and play with it. Be
Right.
willing to accept that there may be a message in there for you.
Well, I wrote down a couple things that you said. In the book, you say empaths live in a powerful state of receiving that which seems almost impossible to others. They are open to receiving as a way of life. And that's true. I mean, when I see Penny, I know it's a message from heaven. You know, people say, I do. I just know it is. And the same thing with the birds. I have roadrunners and I don't see them, but when I see them a lot, it's confirmation that I'm on the right track.
Yes, it is. It just absolutely has volume of information for us if we pay attention.
Well, and then you talk about telepathic communication a little bit. You say you don't have to be in close physical proximity to others to sense their energy empathically, either to feel their feelings or to realize that they feel yours. And this is how I knew my husband was cheating on me. I talk about it now. I was so empathic that I could literally see the girl.
I had that happen too.
Yeah, you had the same thing.
Yeah, plus I had a funny thing, which was coyotes were howling outside the window in an area where you might hear them in the distance occasionally. A whole pack was right outside my bedroom window snarling and you could hear their saliva. I mean, they were that close. And that's the trickster, a little bit of deception and things like that. And I I noticed, I thought, oh my God, oh no, not coyote, not trickster. Yeah. So, you get clued in, the truth is always, the joke's on all of us because deception is eventually,
Revealed.
yeah. And we're all human. So I'm not trying to be judgy or anything. I'm just saying
Right.
you do get guided.
We're perceptive.
Yeah, yeah.
We know. That's the thing about empaths. And I just want to say this, and I want you to tell me your feeling. You can't lie to me.
No, no, no. Yeah.
I can tell, like even my kids when they're growing up, they
Yeah.
can't lie to me. I've always had this knowing. I
Yeah.
know the
Well,
truth.
just-
Yeah, so
right.
if you tell me something and it's not the truth, I know you're lying. Do you have that? Do all empaths have that?
Yeah. You just take it in and then it's a quiet knowing. Sometimes it's subtle and sometimes it's really not so subtle.
Sometimes it sucks.
Yeah, a lot of time. What'd you say?
It sucks.
Yeah, it can. It
So much
really can.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. To me, the worst thing in the world as an empath is to be lied to. Because, and especially when people know or think they know who we are, because
Yeah.
it's almost, it's insulting.
Yeah, it is. And then the other thing about it, which is kind of interesting, and this is the other part that's intuitive, and it's an intuitive skill to develop, is how much can come in that you feel in your body, and one of the energy centers of the body, maybe your stomach, you get it in your gut, or you feel it in your heart, or it's in your throat, so you should speak up or whatever. It comes in, but the brain hasn't figured it out. The brain that we act like is so great for everything, and it's part of everything, but it in the mind, we haven't been able to process it. You need time to go and do that, but you already received and already know when something isn't good for you, when something is said and it's not necessarily your truth as you believe. The mind has to have its time to figure that out, because it's the rest of the body's already told us. How often do we ignore that? We ignore it.
Well, and this is even with food. As
Oh,
you're,
yeah.
this is with everything. Empaths,
Yes.
if there's certain things now I can't eat as I become more and more and more empathic. My body rejects it. And
Mhm.
did that happen to you as well?
Well, absolutely. And I don't know if I said much about this in the book, but I was one of those people always sensitive to wheat, for example. I would notice
Right.
that my stomach would get real big, but I felt it
Yeah.
almost made me feel like eating more of it was real weird. And that is what happens with insensitivity to that. So you can be extremely sensitive to food and to chalk on the chalkboard, or to
Patient.
anything. Yeah, anything. Wool, a little thread on my body that is, the tag or whatever. And that sensitivity is a form of intelligence. It makes the adults think, why is that kid squirming? They're not with the program. We got to figure out this. But the truth is, it's for survival. If it were a spider and you knew it, you might be alive because you felt it. The person who didn't feel the little thread, could die because of a spider bite more than, so it's like, hey, stop being hard on sensitive people, because actually it's a form of intelligence.
I want to talk about that for a second. Clothing. I have learned over time, just intuitively, that I can't wear wool.
Mhm.
I can't wear anything that doesn't breathe. Like
Mhm.
I have to have more cotton, because
Yeah.
the polyester or nylon or whatever it doesn't breathe,
Yeah.
and my body can't tolerate it. Isn't that interesting? And
Yes, and I think also the psychometry aspect of it, you're touching, let's say you go and there's stuff on the rack and you touch it and you get a feeling, you don't like the feeling. It may be the perfect thing, but you don't like the feeling. And it's not the material, it's not the design, it's maybe a lot about the story of how it came about. Maybe someone getting paid a nickel a week had to you
Oh,
know,
pick it up
part
on
of a sweatshop energy, and you're feeling all that stuff.
okay.
You
Yeah.
know, nylon, I don't know. You could look into it. What happens when things are made of nylon?
Well,
There's a lot there.
no, there is. And it's funny, my daughter had mentioned to me that, these fabrics that aren't natural aren't good for us. They have different dyes and different things in them. And I think that's what it is more than anything. We've only got a couple minutes, but I want you to start talking about your drawing, and then we'll go into it more in the next segment. And this is what you say, and she's so wonderful. She did a reading for me. I don't know if you guys, I want you to look at the painting behind um, her, because it's Elaine does beautiful, beautiful art, but she did a reading for me, and the way she does it, I'm just amazed by what you do. Is that
Well, I'm amazed by what you do. I do have to say that.
oh, well, thank you.
'Cause
We
this was a reading exchange.
we did.
You read for me too. Awesome.
But she draws, and it's so interesting. And she says, and I want to preface this, and then we'll get into it in the next segment. So, empath drawing, she says, dreaming, especially freestyle drawing, done in the flowing stream of consciousness, offers an immediate mode of creative expression. And that's what we're going to talk about when we come back. Her book is The Way of the Empath. It's by Elaine Clayton, How Compassion, Empathy, and Intuition Can Heal Your World. This is Nancy You're Out. This is High Road to Humanity, and we will be right back. Hi, this is Nancy You're Out, and this is High Road to Humanity, and the book is The Way of the Empath. I'm talking to Elaine Clayton here, and this, if you're watching me on YouTube, I'm holding her book up. Elaine, how do people get in contact with you? What's your contact information?
Well, my website, you can send me a message through my website. It's elaineclayton.com. So that's easy. And then I'm on Facebook and Instagram. And I try to do Twitter, but I'm not such a great Twitter person.
I'm not either, actually. Okay, cool.
I don't know
Listen,
why.
talk to us about, this is how drawing is how you, I feel, express yourself intuitively. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that how I focus on drawing is that take us back as humans to the caves.
Mm.
When even in our most instinctual period, we knew a surface was symbolic of our presence as people who are alive with a chance to make your mark, I mean, seriously. And they used the cave to do that. Wow, look what happens when I just press my hand against that, and blow some paint around it. It's so thrilling to be human and to make a difference. We did come to make a difference because, like, we were talking earlier, there are no two of us alike. So you can do a thing and someone else can do a thing that's the same, but it's not the same because there is no other you. It is miraculous. So drawing freely is one of the first things babies do. They draw with the food on their high chair tray. They draw on the walls and get in trouble for it, right? We get in trouble. Well, so I realized that fades out because they get messages not to draw while we're talking about math. Are you drawing? Put that down. You're staying in for recess, or you're going to miss art. Something gets taken away because you're caught drawing.
Yeah.
Right.
Doodling. I used to always doodle. Doodling is like really a good way to express yourself,
Right, it is. And that's why I don't even use the word doodle. I say stream drawing because they would say, oh, that's just a doodle. Well, no, it actually was a cool thing. I was concentrating, I was creating. So I try to take out whatever's condescending and sort of devaluing about it, because I think we're at our strongest when we do something creative. And if you close your eyes and use your non-dominant hand and draw real freely, it feels so good. And you're in a meditation state, almost like a dream, but no one's criticizing you because there's no wrong way to do it. You're not criticizing you, and you are creating. So it's a meditation and a way to create. So that's why I had to include it in this book, because so much happens. I mean, it's really hard to just stop and go, usually everything comes in your mind and you don't have time and whatever. Or it happens that you are intuitive when you're just driving in the car because you're coasting. Same thing when you draw like that with your non-dominant hand and your eyes closed. You can really actually transport yourself into an empathic state. And how I have it in this is a little bit of that stream drawing. And then the other is what you did, since I taught at the Paideia School years ago. They let you, they're great about letting teachers innovate. And I was 20 something, 25 or something. And I had kids draw, and it's like in art school, you call it blind contour. You can't see what you're drawing. You are so focused on the subject and drawing a contour of that subject that you're really feeling how it would feel to be them. And then you don't look at your paper, because if you do, you'll go, oh, that's not right, and you'll start doubting and the whole thing. But if you really concentrate on someone else while you're drawing their contour, it's magical. And you go into an intuitive state and a free creative state. And everyone should try it, because you do feel the person's tension in their body, or however they're standing, or whatever gesture they're making. You really start to feel it. How would it feel like to be that person?
I like how you say, how does it feel? And you guys want to check out, we did a show, Elaine and I did a show on her book, Making Marks, Discovering the Art of Intuitive Drawing. When did we do this? About a month or two ago.
Yeah, too long ago. Time went fast. I missed you. Okay. I want to talk to Nancy again,
I want to see her draw. I mean, because you drew on the show, remember?
Yeah, that was so fun. Thanks for having me do that, letting me do that. I think I wanted to draw with you,
Yeah.
And that was not the blind contour. That was stream drawing, eyes closed, non-dominant hand. And then there's the gazing place where, as an intuitive, empathic person, you might have fun daydreaming about the imagery and see what comes. And again, this is about being willing to go inside, have an inner conversation where you notice how even a subtle line makes you feel, because a jagged line makes us feel very different from an arcing line like a rainbow. We have so many responses to everything around us, and it's intuitive, but we were conditioned not to pay attention to that. We were told to pay attention to how to get an A, win or lose, you better win, because if you lose, you're going to be so humiliated.
I know.
That was more important than the person next to you was crying.
Right.
That's terrible. That's a tragedy. And I'm not criticizing teachers, because again, I've had to teach, and be that person who the joke was on me. I had to be the one in that role, and you have to try to do your best with the role that you're in. But I think hopefully we're going to change, and we are changing gradually in schools, where we can, allow each other.
Be more kind to each other,
Yeah, be kind. I mean, it's almost, that's even being weaponized now, almost like having empathy is like being a snowflake or something, and not having an empathy is whatever word people want to say. The truth is, we're just all human. We all know what it feels like when someone does not care about how we feel, and it feels terrible. And yet we are responsible for ourselves. You don't have to rush in to take care of someone in a way that is harmful to you, or in some way detrimental or whatever, but just engaging in who we are as humans, it makes the world so much better. Do you remember in the Ukraine war early on? So tragic, but the Russian soldiers that were captured, the Ukrainians had them call their mothers. Call your mother, tell her you're okay. That's who we really are. I don't think we really want to destroy each other, not collectively. There may be some who really want to do that. And
yeah, and not to get into a whole thing, and if you don't mind, I think it's a few. It's just a few. I think the collective, I really believe that the collective is becoming more compassionate, more to the we want peace. We don't want all this destruction.
I think so.
All this controversy. I want to talk a little bit about self-protection. It's really important. I had a girl yesterday that I spoke with, that I did a reading with, and she was an empath. She didn't realize she was an empath. It's funny. I can remember when somebody told me what I was. There's like a word for it. Oh, is that what I am? I'm an empath.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And, there's certain things that we can do as empathic people to help ourselves. One
Mhm,
thing I do is I have selenite all through my house. I have it around my
mhm,
computer. I have it by my bed. This
mhm,
clearing stone that is one of the most powerful crystals. I use this. I do my head. I do my
mhm,
arms. It may
mhm.
seem really weird to you guys, but it's how I get the energy off of me.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you doubt the frequency differentiation between crystals, just get a bunch of different crystals like fluorite, rose quartz, just mix it up and then actually hover your hand over them one at a time. They will not feel the same. I used to laugh about crystals. Ah, ha, ha, that's so silly. I mean, lightheartedly until my older son was in third or fourth grade and they had a rock shop. They did rock hounding and that they were selling them and I picked a few up. One made me feel like I was brushing my teeth, sort of minty all over. I put that one down and I picked up the other and I felt calm. And I thought, oh my God, I have been so ignorant. There is something to all of this. Remember, nature, we're connected to all of it. We're not separate. It's not like, you know, a separate thing. We are one with all of this. And so protection, I think, first of all, it's real important to just acknowledge the ways in which, as an empath, you may be absorbing other people's feelings. That's the eureka moment when you realize you're doing that. Because then you will recognize the patterns that you may have created where you've put yourself in positions or allowed yourself to be sucked into positions where you are wanting someone to be better, wanting it so badly that you've compromised in some ways your own health or safety even. That's an emergency if that's true. If you're with someone that could harm you or has in the past harmed you physically or is emotionally abusive, that's serious. So you don't hang around for that. You want the person to have another chance, fine, go live somewhere safe, see if they're able to do it in a way that's safe. It probably won't happen. That's just the hard news. But you do not need to subject yourself to situations that are dangerous. Otherwise, I would say do anything you can do to remain intuitive so that you follow your gut and you leave situations and places that you really don't feel very good about. Go home.
Yeah, let's talk more about this when we come back. We're on our last segment here. The book is The Way of the Empath. It's Elaine Clayton's new book. You guys, you got to check it out. This is Nancy. You're out. This is High Road to Humanity, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Ascension Institute annual program. It is my sincere desire to support you and to bring you to a new level of mastery that will allow you to serve humanity in the way you've always wanted. My name is Maureen St. Germain, and I have led this program for over 7 years. It is my sincere gratitude that allows me to offer this to you at this time. Check it out. Thank you for listening.
Hi, this is Nancy. You're out, and this is High Road to Humanity. This is the last segment. I'm here with Elaine Clayton. The book is The Way of the Empath. We're talking about what it's like to be an empath, and I'm talking about protection with Elaine. And we were on a commercial break, and I was telling her, a lot of I have to cloak myself a lot of time. I don't. People call it cloak. I call it just putting white light around myself. Some people put themselves in tanks. Some people net themselves. Sometimes I get in a phone booth. I try to make it fun. The reason I do this, and I want you to talk about it, is because, how can I say this? I guess I feel like I have to protect myself from some of the negative energy that's out there because I pick it up without meaning to. What do you think? Am I over the top on this, Elaine, or what?
No, so I relate in so many ways. So I will do exactly what you mentioned. I'll either have like a dome. I picture angels around me and remember how real the imagination is. Everything that exists here, it was over there first. So when you envision something, it's summoning the actual spiritual idea of it. So it's real, it's not fake. So, and also I'll say a prayer that that I would interact only with who God would intend for me to, and to have protection. That's everyone. That's our birthright. You get to have that prayer.
Like that.
Yes. And so it's taking the authority over the domain of your body, of your space where you are, in your space as you traverse. Because if we don't assume that and ask God to do that with us, then the universe doesn't really know how to, that God will give us the free will. So use your free will, use it. And so yeah, I mean, I think that the truth of the matter is not all energies out there are what I would think are healthy for me. And sometimes though, God does put you with someone to give them a chance or to help you learn one more thing. And usually if it's a difficult thing, you're learning something, you know. If it hurts a little, if your heart hurts a little, it's a lesson for you, you know. If your stomach hurts, I would say it means that's really not your lesson, but you may be present for someone else's. So there are all kinds of things that we go through that can happen. But in general, putting yourself in a dome of light or a cloak or a phone booth or however you want to picture it is really essential, actually. I'm surprised people wouldn't do that.
Okay. I just want to know what you thought about it, because I do it now. I just want to say a lot of times people think I'm closing myself off to the world. I'm not. Sometimes I'll put a net and say only the good energy can come in when
Right.
So it's really your intention of how you do this. I think.
Well, let me ask you a question or tell you what I think about that. The disposition where people may think, what did you say? They think that you may be closed off. Is that what you said?
Right.
Because I feel the same. I think they'll think that they may think I'm snobby because again, it's that position of being a little bit observant because I'm taking in a lot of info and
Right.
I'll almost be to the side in some way or trying to understand what I'm picking up on. And it does make you other a little bit, but from our hearts, we know we are not being aloof. It's not about aloofness. It's about really wanting to be in the position to be helpful and be wise in your space. I mean, you can go and not do that and all kinds of folly can happen if you're not paying attention.
Right. I've been in, I'll just give one example. I don't know if I've ever told this on the show. I went to have my pictures taken and I went to this lady's studio and I really liked her. And she had like a barn kind of setup. It was kind of cool, you know, and she took great pictures. But when I got done, I started to get sick and I didn't even make it out of the driveway. And I got sick, literally. So something that was in, and I didn't protect myself before I went in. I'm going to get my picture taken, right? Didn't think anything about it. Something literally got on me and I had to get it off, which is not easy. So what happens is, and I want to say this, and I hate to be so blunt, but we are of the light and the dark sees the light and it's drawn and entities are drawn to us. And so that is one of the reasons this has happened to me, that I do this. Has anything like this happened to you?
Well, sure. I mean, and I feel that because of prayers that we say, nothing really evil can come close. That would be like a robber running into a police station, and they really just don't do that. So it's a disallowing of real evil. I don't allow it near.
Right. But
however, mischief makers are out there. There's gradations of energies that, again, some of these energies, a big shadow, you didn't want it, you were being very effervescent for your photos, and you know, you felt that thing. It's true because it's true in physical ways too. People of all types are all around, you know. So yeah, I've had all kinds of, I see ghosts and things, and I remember being at a hotel in Connecticut, and there was a young staff. And there were some weird sounds. I thought the door opened, I laid back down, and all of a sudden I could see this person. He was sort of tan. He had on like a leather jacket. He looked like he was from the 70s or something. And he's leaning over me. He thought it was really funny. And I start saying, get out, get away. And then I always say, God loves you, go to God, you know. And they can't take that more than a few times, and then they do go. But next day I said to the young staff, oh, guess what? I saw a ghost over in that part of the building. And a guy goes, what did he look like? And I said, describe. And he said, oh, I've seen him before. So, you know, I don't know why. I don't know why they come around, but they do. So it's, but I don't, again, I want to say I'm not fearing evil. I know you're not fearing evil.
You just have to
Don't
do it.
allow it, but you have to deal with it. And when you go somewhere and it feels like you have to throw up, probably not going to go there again.
Exactly. I'm just saying you have to be aware. I wasn't aware. These are things that happened as I learned about who I was and that I was empathic, you know.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have these things happen to them. This is why this book is so important, you guys, because if you have some of these things happen to you, you need to get this and read and understand it. I think the first thing I did when I started to realize I was an empath is look for a book, and there wasn't a lot out there.
There's not really.
Right,
I know.
right.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful for the opportunity. And I will say, always saying, how, if you don't like the word prayer, whatever, I'm just going to say how I do it. I pray for God to send angels. I pray for protection. If I get in the car, I pray for protection. I want to call in whatever would help me most with whatever we deal with in the world. It's not an easy life, this life. So we're inevitably going to have things that are challenging for us. But I would rather feel I'm not alone in it. And I would rather have that disposition where I'm allowing good, what I feel is good and light, to be part of it with me.
Right. I like what you said, because I call in Archangel Michael, Uriel, Gabriel, and Raphael every night before I go to bed. Surround my house with the white light of the Holy Spirit. I do all that stuff, you guys. So I suggest everybody do it too. Two things I want to talk about before we get out of here. One is it's really good to take salt baths, sea salt baths, or even Epsom salt baths if you're an empath, or even if you're not. It gets the yucky energy off of you. And I just want to say that if you don't like baths, then you can put some salt in a cup with water and pour it over your head and get that, right? I mean,
Salt is really important. We're made of salt and water, basically. We got a lot of, but yes, and some people go, oh, it's so bad for my skin. No, salt is actually really great for your skin. So don't not do it because of that. It's actually really good for your skin.
Right. And the other thing I want to mention that you talk about in the book is TV, change the channel, you say. And this really hit home with me, and I want you to talk about it. We've got a couple minutes left. If a show comes on, you know, and it's violent, I can't watch it.
Since I was a kid, I remember going to a movie and it was, oh, the main character was killed. And I remember being so distraught and upset. And my friend said, oh, it's just a movie. But to me, I experienced it like it was, I know it's a movie. I knew it, you know, but I still, empaths experience things like it's real. You're not just superficial about what happened to the character. You take it. I feel it viscerally. It's a physiological event in my nervous system. I don't want it. Most of the stuff out there either has a little layers of sadism or something that's emotionally abusive, and you have to be really careful what you allow in.
And it lowers your vibration and it affects your vibration. And don't think it doesn't. I actually have been watching like old reruns because I can't. I do. I watch the old reruns because
I love TCM because I watch the old movies. TCM is my favorite, you know.
Yes, where there's values and morals and all those good things that we have.
Well, it's just really good classic movies, and they're bad guys and things, but you know, it's not the same as today. Today we have a lot of stuff that's very
harsh.
It's almost like it's almost like the violence has been ramped up, and the disregard for feelings can be seen. I mean, every now and then something beautiful happens, and that's not the case. But there's a lot out there that if I would just say this, if you at all feel weird inside when you're watching something, think about whether or not it's doing you a favor.
Exactly. Bringing down your vibration. We got to get out of here, Miss Elaine Clayton. She's written a wonderful book, The Way of the Empath. You guys have to pick this up. If you know somebody who's an empath, it will help you understand that person. And I think it's really important that people understand us, don't you?
I do. And yes.
Thanks.
Amen to that.
Thanks for coming.
Well, thank you for having me. And your angel readings are fantastic.
Thank
You
you.
call in the angels for clients, and I just have to shout out that
Thank you. That was really nice of
I
you.
know firsthand.
Your readings are good too. So, all right, guys, we're going to get out of here for today. It's called The Way of the Empath. Make sure you pick it up. If you want an angel reading, go to my website, nancyyearout.com. Hey, I'm pulling angel cards on TikTok. Try to do it every day. It's fun. Got lots of you following me and having a good time. I'm working on a class. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it. It's about love and it's some information from the angelic realm. So I'm working on that. So look out for that. And we'll have you back again soon, Miss Elaine.
All right, my total honor. Thank you.
You guys have a terrific week. And this is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity. Everybody take care and God bless.
Connect the dots and keep the motion. Can achieve your goal. Let's hit the high road.
Hey, you guys, join me next week on The High Road for more stories filled with wisdom, love, and hope for our future. Have a fabulous week and know that by staying on the high road, you will make it to your destination. Visit my website, nancyyearout.com, where you can book a private session to learn how to tap into your own abilities. And check out my YouTube channel. It's Nancy Yearout's High Road to Humanity.
You can achieve your goal.